Released this week in the UK with a wider release in early July is Minions from Illumination and Universal. Preceding the events of the Despicable Me series, in which the titular group made their debut, the new movie tracks their long history in search of a villain to glom onto. Skwigly caught up with directors Kyle Balda and Pierre Coffin to learn more.
As the directors of the film, could you talk a little bit about the collaboration you guys have?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we hate each other. And the chemistry sort of makes it come together. Like, I don't want to do stuff, he makes it now, and he tells me to do stuff, I do like the opposite thing, and then it turns out to be good. We've been working together for like 12 years on different projects, commercials, TV series and stuff, and so we sort of, like, I think, complement each other pretty well.
So I know in Despicable Me 2, the Minions were more of an integral part of the film. How did the idea for Minions come about?
Do you want to go for it?
Yeah, originally Brian Lynch had pitched out this idea about the Minions like as an origin story, and it sort of circulated around this sequence of Villain Con, which is kind of like Comic Con, or some sort of like an animation convention or a comic book convention, but for villains. And so the Minions, trying to get in there and try to find a boss that they could work for. All this takes place before Gru, before they met him. So it's taking place in the '60s, and then from there we just sort of developed it into the story about the origin of the Minions and developing the mythology of them.
Usually it takes us like 2.5 years to make a movie. The first year is usually spent in pre-production, what we call pre-production, meaning like trying to find like a story, a structure, and normally at the end of that year we have a script. And from the moment we have a script, we start storyboarding, meaning translating the written words into little vignettes, like drawn vignettes. Those little vignettes are edited, put together with sound and music, and then it's either approved by our lovely producer, Chris Mondandri, and once he approves it, it goes into what we call animation. It's basically those little vignettes. If you have two Minions talking to a third one, it's brought into the computer, and the animator artist has those two Minions talking to that one Minion. And from the moment they're animated, they go into that department which is called rendering and compositing. That means adding light, adding texture to
final look.
Yeah, the final look of the pictures, basically, and all that across 3 years. And what 3 years gives us actually is the gift of time. It's like we go in a direction, we see the movie in terms of those little vignettes put together, and then we see that the story it's not working that well. So we try different stuff, and across 3 years.
I sort of think of it like if you think about a live action movie. So much of it happens in real time on a set. You have the camera, the lights, the crew's all there, and so it's like being like a live musician up on stage, and there's the pressure to get it right on that day. Animation films are more like studio musicians, where you have more time, you can work things out, you can explore things, you can try new things, and even like months later you can go back to the same scene and try out new takes of dialogue and things like that. You don't have to get everyone back together like you would in live action to shoot the scene. So
we have no excuse if the movie's bad.
Oh, right. But it was cute and funny.
Oh my God.
I noticed that there were other animation mediums in there as well, like traditional 2D. I mean, how did that decision to incorporate that come about?
It's just circumstances. Like we always loved opening credits and stuff, and we thought that opening credit, which Kyle actually came up with, is something that is visually cool to get into, just because it can tell a story in a different way. The story that's being told in that opening sequence is like the Minions were little cells at the beginning, and then they followed that big cell which ate that little cell in the next, and then we tell basically the foundation of our story. Like, these guys have been around forever, following the evil villain of their times, up until the moment where they get out of the water and meet the T-Rex and eventually kill him. And that's purely the Minions. So it's cool to establish that. And as for the look of the bedtime story I think you're referring to, we went to the stop motion look just because it was the things of our childhood.
Yeah. to get like, I think a lot of it is just because we like different mediums, and so it's trying to find kind of excuses, just to play a little bit, in the storytelling of like, oh, we could do this because it's a dream sequence. Let's completely like change the look and design of the characters, and the way in is the fact that it's sort of the minion Bob. It's his imagination of how he's imagining the story, so we could use that as a license to use this different medium.
And it's somewhat personal, just because that's the only thing I was allowed to see when I was a kid before going to bed. These like Eastern European animated stuff. So that was just something I put in there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.